and welcome to my new video. So today, this is episode 1 of my new series of survival in a tin. Hopefully you've already seen the introduction, so you know roughly what it's all about. So just to, if you haven't, just to recap, so survival in a tin is all about testing different companies' survival tins to see which one fares the best inside a given scenario situation. So for series 1, the scenario we're actually using for the whole of this tests of all the different kits we're going to look at is I'm a day hiker. I've gone outside and walk inside the woods, like I'm a photographer going out taking a few photos, and I've got disorientated inside the woods. It's now 5:30 in the evening, so it could be roughly the same sort of time. The light is fading. I realised that I've got no chance of finding my way out because it's going to be dark in about an hour's time. I've been walking around in circles for the last 2 hours, so I've decided to bug down for the night using the survival tin as an aid to build shelter. Yeah, so what the idea is, I need to bug down for the night, and there's a series of tests I need to do with the survival tin to make sure it can actually fulfill as a survival tin. One is to aid me in building a shelter, not to build a shelter, to aid me building a shelter. 2, to find or aid in collecting and purifying water. 3, with water in mind, having a fire, so be able to light a fire and sustain warmth. 4, the ability to either have food or catch and prepare food. And 5, some sort of security system inside the tin, i.e. sort of light or distress on there, and that also brings inside a signaling device for rescue. Yeah, so they're the criterias. I've got to shelter, to get some sort of shelter, find water, make fire, find food, and some way of signaling device for rescue. So they're the 5 things, the criteria I've got to be able to do. And if there's any other things inside the tin which you can do additional from that, all jolly good. And we're going to see how we get on. So that's enough said. It's getting quite dark now. I'm just going to show you the kit I do have with me. This is going to be the rest of the same kit I have for every single scenario situation. So I'm wearing just a synthetic tight down jacket. Inside my pocket I've got a waterproof coat, like anyone would do if they're going out walking, sort of thing. Especially in our country, you need some sort of waterproof. So I've got my birdhouse pack light sort of inside my pocket. I've got a little coat over here. I've got a hat inside of this pocket. I've got my normal walking boots, socks, and then on my back is purely for videoing equipment only. It's got my spare batteries, it's got my cameras. I've got one camera on here, I've got a spare camera on here, and I've also got a light purely used for filming nighttime, not for use during the day, for actually building or anything or any work. It's just there just for filming nighttime, and there's spare batteries and spare memory cards in there. I do have my mobile phone. That's so I can contact, if I need to, my wife or in emergencies or any problems. Because this is only a video, it's not real life situation, not life and death. So I do have that, but it's not to be used any time throughout the video or any time during the survival situation. So I can't use a torch, I can't use it for anything, the signalling or anything like that. It's just there just for my own safety if I need to use it. I've got my car keys because I had to drive here. The car keys do have paracord on there and that sort of thing. I'm not using any of this paracord, so at the end of the video I'll prove to you if I need to. I'm not using anything on there. I left my wallet at home because my wallet does contain knives. It's got a fold-up blade in it. It's got a multi sort of card in it. It's got a couple of multi cards. It's also got Tinder and first aid equipment inside the wallet. So I have not got that with me, so I can't be tempted to use that equipment. I've got a normal fleece and I've got a normal cotton t-shirt. Other than that, I have nothing on me except for today's survival tin. So today's survival tin, a good friend of mine who I've met over social media, and I've done some other stuff with him or for him already, is a limitless equipment. Yeah, so this, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more, sit back and zoom in. Yeah, so we are using today a Limitless equipment survival tin. To me, this looks like a fully fledged survival tin, so I thought what a good start to start off with. Let's get one of the top on the market, what we think is one of the top ones on the market, and we'll give this a test. I have done a video on the contents of this, sort of basic. There'll be a little link just down here now so you can have a look inside the tin itself. But I can only use the contents of this tin. I do have the box at my disposal, but I can only use the contents of this tin today to do my survival challenge. So I'm going to see how much can I do with this tin. So enough said, I'm going to turn the camera around now. It's getting dark, so the first port of call I really need to be doing is foraging as much wood as possible, and then also finding some sort of temporary shelter in which I could use. I've just seen something when I'm sitting here, so I'll show you what I'm looking at, and then we're going to go forage as much wood as possible to then hopefully build my shelter and then start on getting the fire and water purification sorted. There is, just zoom out a little bit. So where I am at the moment, there is a source of a river, sort of coming over here. So just behind me in the wood block is actually a source, but very, very boggy, very peaty. So hopefully there'll be something inside here in which I could filter that water and then be able to purify it at the same time. But if not, I'm going thirsty. So that's it, let's go for it. Okay, so I'm walking around the area, and the main thing is for survival is to make things as easy as possible. If you've got natural features like caves, probably not caves, but shelters, overhanging trees, anything which can make your life a lot easier to build a shelter, you want to use it. So what I've just found here, you can see this is a fallen tree. You've got a fallen tree just over there, so I could use that, but there'll probably be lots of midges and that sort of bugs and that around there. But what I've seen here, this is a lovely limb which is going to come over here, and I've got some dry sort of debris sort of ground on the grass. So I'm thinking using the tree as my shelter. Also thinking you've got to think of the 4 W's, yeah, in survival as well. So the first thing I'm looking at is wood. Yeah, is there plenty of wood nearby? Yes, there's plenty of wood nearby me, so I've got no problems at all. I don't have to walk very far to actually find wood to actually build a shelter and also have a fire. Next one, water. So yes, I've already identified there's a bit of stream sort of over there, very dirty sort of thing. There is a source, so it shouldn't be having any pathogens and that, too many pathogens and microbacteria which cause me any issues, as long as I filter it and purify it properly. So I've got the 2 things. Third one is wind. There's not much wind around here. There's trees sheltering me around the area, so I'm quite happy with that. I don't have to worry about, there's no real major wind today as well, so I don't have to worry about the wind direction, so sort of coming on. And the last one is widowmakers. This is where we need to be careful. We need to look up. Yeah, we need to look up, and as we're looking up, we need to look for, are there any dead limbs or dead trees which could fall down on top of me? Yeah, so I'm looking around now. I can't really. All the trees seem to be very, very good around here. They're all quite strong sycamores. Yes, that one is falling down, but everything else seems to be quite sturdy. So I'm happy with my selection I've got here. So I'm going to build myself a simple lean-to. I'm going to have it open that way. I'm probably going to put a fire which is just in front of here to keep the warmth. I'm going to use this. I'm going to put some limbs coming down here. And then I'm going to use all this tree matter, all this leaf matter on the floor, and actually just throw it over top of the lean-to, and then I'm going to build up a big leaf mower patch sort of on the bottom of it. That is my thinking. That's my quick scenario sort of thing. I think I should be able to get that done in probably half an hour tops. I'd say I can't see the sun at all anymore. I've really only got about an hour of light to build this shelter, and then collect some firewood, collect some water, build a fire. Yeah, so hopefully there's some sort of light source inside that, so I can see what I'm doing when it gets a little bit dark. So let's go. Okay, so it's 5 to 6 now. I've been collecting wood for about 10 minutes. I've got a nice little wood pile. You can't really see it too much. I'll try and turn the camera around, but say I'm trying to do this as natural as possible. Here we go, so a little wood pile which is just there. But big thing is when you're collecting that wood, especially in a soil situation, that if you think you've got enough wood, you always need more. So just think, yeah, if you think you've got enough, no you haven't. It's your brain saying stop, carry on, do something else. You need to just go past that little bit and go get some more. Spend another 5 minutes, 10 minutes foraging more wood, because you'll regret it later on. You'll finish, you start building, you find out you haven't got enough materials or haven't got enough wood to keep you going for the fire overnight, and then it's dark, you can't see anything, and so you just lost that vulnerable light source. So I'm going to plough on for another 5 more minutes, rummage around the woods. There's so much deadfall wood around here, so I'm just picking it off the ground, just ripping it off from the ground, and I'm trying to get so much wood above me when I can just throw some debris over the top of it, just to make myself a quick lean-to shelter and get ready for the next part of the challenge. Okay, for filming purposes, I've turned the light on now so you can actually see what I'm doing. Generally, in a proper situation, I'd be using other light sources, maybe trying to get my eyes to work as quick as I can into the dark. So the first thing I'm going to be building this little shelter now, so just make sure there's nothing that's going to hurt me on the floor. So any sort of thin bits of wood, I can use this for a fire. So I'm just going to bring that to the front of my shelter, just so then I've got myself some kindling sort of coming by. So I'm just going to quickly check round now, just have a quick look. There's nothing really hard which is going to hurt me when I'm laying on the floor, because I am laying on the floor because I've got nothing else to lay on. I'm probably going to use the waterproof jacket as a ground sheet. So other than that, there's nothing really much around here. I've got rid of all the stones. There's no real stones. There's no stinging nettles. Bit of lump there, but I think that should be sufficient enough. So I'm going to lay down just to make sure I can fit inside it. Yeah, happy with that. There's something on my back just then, I don't know what that was. So I'm going to go from that bit there to where my coat is. I'm going to move this coat, I'm going to put my survival kit and the coat so I can see it. So I'm going to put my waterproof jacket, I'm going to put my silver jacket on the floor first, waterproof thing, and the survival kit on the top. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to open it up. I think there might be something inside here, because the last thing I want to do is lose it. So I'm going to have a quick look inside the kit. Right, so I see some power cord, that might come in handy very shortly. I've got a compass. I don't really need that at the moment. I've got a wire saw, that might come in handy shortly. I've got a fishing kit, don't really need that. I've got some salt, could be quite handy. I've got a tampon for tinder. I've got some OXO cubes. I've got a pencil, some paper, a wound dressing. I've got a condom for a water carrier, so I'll probably be using that shortly to go get some water. I've got some alcohol wipes. I do have a cut on my hand from earlier on today. I've got 2 OXO cubes, so that's really handy. There we go, I've got a little, it looks like a strobe, a type little mini strobe. That's what I was looking for. Snap light, so I've got 1 snap light just in here. So I've got a vial of Vaseline, all sorts. Yeah, I say I'll go for this in a bit more detail later on. Some ranger bands, some fire making kit. I've got all sorts of stuff in here. Snares, paper clips, some used for triggers. Right, but I do believe this snap light is good for 8 hours. So what I'm going to do to make sure I don't lose my box, because there is an elastic band which goes on the top of the tub. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the box back together again, put the elastic band, which I've got around my finger, which I've just dropped on the floor. Oh no! What I was going to do is snap the snap light and put that on the elastic band. So I'm going to snap the snap light now. Hopefully I can use that to find my elastic band I just dropped. Yep, that worked. So I'm going to put the elastic band back onto the tin, and I'm going to put the snap light underneath it like that. So when I turn this light off, I'm going to be able to see where I put my tin. I think that's going to be quite important because I don't want to be losing that. The last thing I want to do is lose that. I've got myself a little light source and I know where my kit is then, so I don't have to worry about it. So I'm now going to start building this shelter and then we'll get back to you. Okay, so it's 6:30. I've got the bottom bit covered up with loose debris. I'm struggling to try to find as much grass or loose leaves around where I am. So what I started to do, I don't like doing this, but this is a survival situation. I just started to break up some live tree limbs, try leaf branches with leaves still on. So this is oak tree, it'll grow back. There's loads and loads of limbs on there. So just to try to fill up the top half of the shoulder. The bottom bit is filled up with good sort of couple of inches of loose debris sort of coming on there. It's looking quite good in there itself. We've got a little bit of raised up just above me over there. I'm going to put some logs just down the edges of the two edges, but I'm going to carry, now I've got this sort of leaves on the top here, I'm now going to throw some more loose leaves over the top of it, which is going to stop them from falling through. Also going to aid a little bit more protection on the warmth insulation on the top. So it's got quite warm now. It's 6:30 in the evening. It's October the 24th or 25th, something like that. It's something really crazy. I'm in a t-shirt, sort of working around, but I am conscious. I'm getting thirsty. I'm working a bit of a sweat up. I've got no water as of yet. The water is in the dark now. It's actually pitch black, so I don't think I'm going to be doing anything tonight. But I'll give it a go. I'll walk over there in a bit and with my little snap light and see what I can actually do with the water. It might just be the case of getting the tin, it's empty the contents of the tin into the box, fill the tin up with water and just bring that back and just have a small little bit of water around on there. I've seen no pine trees around where I am at the moment either, so there is pine but it's well over there, it's too dark to go deck it. So that's enough said, let's crack on and carry on. Okay, so what I thought I'd do now, I've got the shelter nearly practically complete as best as I can in the dark. I've just picked my box up and I've started to build a sort of fire sort of place. I've just found some fallen birch just around the corner over there, so I'm going to strip some of the bark off, and then using my survival tin, hopefully there's some sort of tinder source or some sort of source where I can light this fire. I'm going to try to get as much of this as I can because it is slightly damp. I thought if I get quite a bit of birch bark off it, I can then get myself a fairly decent fire started. I've got some little bits of sticks all around me to start it off, and then I've got a bigger log just over there to keep it going. So for now I'm going to put this into my watch so I don't lose it. I'm going to put the elastic band around my wrist so I don't lose that this time. Oh, just dropped the compass. So let's try to find some sort of fire lighting device. inside here. Hopefully there should be something in here which we could use. I've also got some Ranger bands, so I'm probably going to use one of the Ranger bands as well. That makes fire. See, I want to make sure this fire actually goes. Yeah, so this is going to be my first little fire. There we go. We've got a little whistle. Yeah, sort of on here, and it looks like on the whistle as well. It might be a fire strike. There we go, yes. So we've got a source of ignition. So we're going to put that back into there so I don't lose it. How do I get that out? Oh yeah, that was in the back there. So let's put that there so I know where that is. What I'm going to use, I think, to start my fire, I'm going to use half of the tampon. There's a cotton wool sauce. So I'm going to fluff some of this up. Hopefully there'll be enough, I can get enough of this off so I can light the birch bark, because just in case I need to use something again, like a fire in the morning, because at the moment I've got no water. But this is going to give me a bit more light, and it's getting a little bit chilly now, so there we go. Yeah, it's a little bit of cotton wool there. Hopefully that should be enough. Hopefully that should be enough. So I've got my Ranger band, I've got on my birch bark, which is a little bit damp, but hopefully the Ranger band will start taking that. So I like that, like the Ranger band. And then get some tinder on the go. Let's put all this back in here so I don't lose any of it. I'll leave that just here for now so I know where it is. Right, so I've got the Ranger band, that's just here, the birch bark, my twigs, my next level. Right, so let's see what happens then, shall we? Ranger band on here. Right, I think that should do us for now. So we'll come back when the fire is really, really roaring. But good win for the Limitless equipment fire still. So this is little whistle and that little tampon, the Ranger band. Hey presto, we had some fire. Okay, I'm getting quite thirsty now. I found some OXO cubes inside the bit of nutrition. I've got a little tin. So what I thought I might try and do is I've just used the wire wool, the bit of wire inside the tin, and what I've done, I've sort of tied together like a crude little torch with the wire around a stick, and what I'm doing is just shoving a load of sticks into it just to try to make it as tight as possible. And what I plan to do is, because I don't have a torch, I've only got this one for filming, I'm going to try to see if I can light it and then use this as a torch to go over to the water source to collect a little billy of water, just so I can then heat that up. So I can heat that up and then I can hold a flame source along the way. So I'm going to give that a go. It might not work, it might work, but I think it's worth a try, isn't it? Right, here we go then. So I'm off to try and find some water. Well, that idea didn't work too well. The fire sort of practically went out just as I got to the water. I didn't have the camera with me, but I did manage just to get the embers I had. I made a very, very small fire just so I could see a little bit of light. I found the sort of peaty sort of water. It was really boggy on the top. Picked the first up, looked really horrible and scummy, but I swizzed it around a little bit and ducked the billy in again, the tin in again, and it came out really clean. So I'm happy with that water. It's now on the, I've now got it next to the fire just so I can start heating it up and give it a little bit of boil inside the tin, inside the survival tin itself. And then I'm going to, also what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get out one of those OXO cubes, which is just here. So we've got a little OXO cube. I'm going to break that up and place that into, so what's this? A source of iodine. Source of iron. Seasoning. Yeah, it's seasoning. Yeah, let's go. Howler. Yeah, so it's even friendly as well. So I'm going to open this up now. Stoke the fire up a little bit because I did actually get disorientated on the way back. I walked off the wrong direction, but luckily I turned around. I turned 360 degrees looking around, and I saw the blaze of my fire on the go. So that was really, really helpful. So I'm gonna put this OXO cube in here now and make myself a little bit of a gravy. Yeah, so onto there itself. So let's just throw that into there. Let's stoke this fire up a little bit, and let's get this boiling, and hopefully we have a nice little stock. We've got some sort of fluid, and we've got a bit of nutrition as well. Okay, so my water's cooled down now. I can actually pick the tin up. I've just picked up loads of wood and started smashing against the trees and breaking it up, but I think this is still quite hot. Oh, very hot. This is still very, very hot. These tins really, really do. Oh, let's try a little bit, shall we? Oh, it's actually really, really nice. Nice source of sort of minerals and salts and things like that, just to keep you going a little bit. I've got really big branches on the tree now, and I'm using the fire to actually cut them. I do have a wire saw, but it's just lots of energy to use a wire saw. So I've opted just to put the wood on the fire and let it burn, and then I'm cutting the wood up by using the fire. And in doing so as well, it's also given me lots of light, so I can see more wood around the area. I've got a nice little pile of wood next to me now, quite big logs, and the fire's really hot, so really by now I should be able to get that going all night and keep me warm. I've nearly finished this. Lovely. Good tree. But that was a winner. That was what I needed. A bit of water, some electrolytes and some salts. It really, really helped. Really, really helped feel a lot better. So what's the time? The time, oh, got the grass on fire now. So the time is only 8:10. So I did actually clear quite a bit off. I dig back a bit more grass, I think. The fire's getting a little bit big now, so let's pull back a little bit more grass from the fire. The last thing I want to do is catch it on fire and have been running away night time. So it's 8:10. There's not really much more I can do now because it's dark. It's dark. I can't collect water in the dark. I can't. I've got a scalpel, but it's not really good enough to actually make some sort of traps. I could, if with the wire wool, with the wire, I could go out and set some snares, but in the dark again you can't see where things are, where the trails are. So really, at this day and age, part of my survival situation, I've had some fluids. So I've got a shelter ticked off. I've got fire. I found water. I've had some sort of mineral sort of food. There is a slug coming by there. I think I might use the lid in a bit and fry it up, but we'll see. But until then, I'll check in later on. What's the time? Okay, so it's 8:20 now. The fire, I've just stoked up the fire. It's lovely and warm. I'm still just in my jumper only. I'm probably going to use my coat as a blanket. I've got my waterproof as a ground sheet, and there's not really much left to do now, so I'm probably going to turn in for the night. The temperature is meant to get down to quite cold tonight, so I thought if I stoke the fire up now, as I'm still warm, let's get some sleep, and I'll probably wake up around about 2 in the morning when the fire's out, sort of thing, and sit around the fire warming myself up a little bit. I can't really do anything about any drink to warm me up, so I haven't got any water. So let's just hope it doesn't get too cold, and I'll see you. If I wake up due to I'm too cold, I'll turn the camera back on again. If not, I'll see you in the morning, and when it's a bit light, and we'll do a little bit more stuff with the survival tin and see what else we can do. I'm thinking of filtering some water, and also possibly trying to see if I can actually make any source of trap with the kit. If just in case there's a long term, I'll need to go get some food in a long term situation. But for the majority of the challenge, the tin is holding up quite well. I've managed to boil the water and cook with it. I've managed to light fire. I've managed to. That's it really at the moment. So I've got some other things which I want to do with that. I was just lucky that I found a tree over there, because I was going to use a paracord and split it down and tie two ends up, but it's quite nice. I found this tree already laid down, so if needed to do, I would have used it, but for now I didn't actually need to use it. But the fire's now stoked up. I'm going to go hit the sack for a few hours and then I'll see you later on. Again, bye for now. I was just laying here and I remembered there was something inside the tub which I wasn't sure what it was. You know, I said I didn't have a torch earlier on. I tried making one. There's a red LED inside the tent, inside the little torch bit, which I didn't realise I had. So if I knew that, I would have used that to try to go down to the water source. But this is really handy, because what I might do now, I'm going to use this. I'm actually going to go down to the water source and then fill the tin up again and put the lid on it. So just in case I do wake up during the night cold, at least then I can actually put it onto the fire and actually heat it back up again and have another drink. So I think I'm just laying there. So I've been laying there for probably about 45 minutes, just laying down, eyes closed, just dozing. And I just realised, I thought, what is that thing inside there? I had a quick look at it, undone it, found out there's a little piece of, you see the white bit there? That sort of stops, so when you undo it, it stops it from doing it and losing all the batteries and holding it in place. So I did it, couldn't work out why it wasn't working. Then there was a piece of paper over it as well, so I took the paper off and done it back up. Now I've got myself a nice little red LED light, which I'm going to use this. I'm going to go down to the woods, I'll go to the river, and I'll take it with me and we'll see what we can find. Okay, I've come down to the water source again. You can see it's not the best sort of water around here. I came down with my little red LED. I did notice though, it does have a little clip on the back. So maybe when I go back, I might get a bit of string out from the paracord and tie that up, put it around my neck. So I've now got, so I know I've got some sort of little torch. But this is what I drunk out of earlier on. It was fine. I haven't felt nothing at the moment. So all I'm going to do is just, like I did last time, I'm going to get my tin out. What I did last time, I just rinsed it out a little bit. Yeah, so just rinse the water around to try and get the top layer of scum off. Fill my little tub up with water. Probably have a little bit more, really. Yeah, and then what I'll do, I'm going to put the lid on this time. I'll do that. Put the lid on there, so I know I've got some water. What I might do actually, save me heating it up, I'll purify it now. So I'll put this on the fire, and then I know if I wake up during the night, I've got some cool water which I can drink, as I've done it now. So I might as well go down and actually heat it up again. Give me something to do, pass the time. So let's head back. I'm going to turn this light off now on the camera, and I'm going to turn the torch back on again. Okay, so what I've just done, I've just put my little light on here. So if I turn it on, yeah, so it's now tied up with a bit of paracord. So it's got some 550 paracord inside here, which is also it's got reflective strips on it. So if you want to use it for night time, so reckon it's also got fire cord in there as well. Do apologise, the light's just gone from the from the fire. I'll try to stoke the fire back up again. Hang on. No, so I put some 550 fire cord on there. I took the inside cord out. What I did use was you can't really see it now. I'll show you again in the morning. It's this little surgical blade, so I'd use a surgical blade and got that. So I use a surgical blade, which you can see just here. Open that up, and then use that to cut the top end of the paracord out, and I and then just slice the thing open. I put it back into there again. I put all my stuff back into my box, and that's just the time. So the time is now. It's now 9:15. So it's getting on. So I've got the water. The water's heating up next to the fire, and then once that's heated up, I take that away, let it cool down, and then that's me for the night. So I'll see you later on. Bye for now. Okay, so it's 5:15 in the morning. I woke up cold. The fire was actually fully out, and got little embers left. Managed to get it stoked up again, and you can see there we've got a nice fire going. It's still dark, bloody cold. What I didn't realise, there was a log just here. You can see there was a log right next to me. I thought, what I'll do, I'll lay just next to the log that will protect me from the fire in case I get any ash sort of coming out off it. But what is also created is a little cold pocket, so they are here. So I'm actually sitting like little cold pockets. I only really feel the heat of the air, heat of the fire when I sit up. So what I've had started doing, I've been starting laying right up against the log, trying to the log's warming up, using that like a hot water blanket, a water bottle or something like that. The log warms up. It's far enough away to not to catch fire, but that's been keeping me warm. So, and I've had I keep having like an hour, like 45 minutes, an hour of sleep, wake up, ken to the fire, come around again. So I think I'm on the last lot of wood now. Though I've walked around with my camp so much over the night, trying to keep this fire going because it is bitterly cold out here. But hopefully the sun will start rising in the next hour, so I can get up and start doing some stuff and start moving around and start actually getting some work done, and hopefully find some food. But until then, I'll see you when the sun rises.
Okay, morning everyone. What's it? It's 7 o'clock now. Just thought I'd turn the camera on. This is where I've been laying all night. Sort of the last. I can blow steam up now. It's actually that cold. Fire. Oh dear, croaky throat now. The fire's actually gone out now. It went out probably about 40 minutes ago. I just couldn't be bothered to get up and go get more wood. So I need to get myself up, get myself warmed up, and then what we're going to do then is collect some water with the kit, and hopefully see what else is inside there, what we can actually do. So let's get myself up. Probably another 20 minutes before it actually gets light. So I think I could probably go down and collect some water in a sec. What I'd probably do, end up probably taking the camera with me so you can see what I'm going to do. So it ain't going to be a light down here anyway. So. Right, let's warm it up a little bit. Let's see what we can do. Okay, so I'm down at the water hole again. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to collect about 1 litre of water. So how I'm going to do with this, I'm going to use my tin, which I've got in there, and then a few more little gadgets I've got inside my pocket from left over from the survival tin. We've got, I don't need the string at the moment, so I'm going to put the stuff on here I don't want to use. So I don't need the string, a bit of Velcro, don't need that, a couple of cable ties, don't need them at the moment, don't need the scalpel at the moment, don't need the saw, don't need a bit of string, don't need a fishing kit. Right, but I do need the coffee filter. And I do need a bit of chewing gum. Yeah, that can be used very shortly. I'll clean my teeth with that. What else we got in here? There's something very important. There we go, found it. No. Alcohol wipe. No, don't need that at the moment. Here we go. This is a condom. I think it is a non-lubricated one. Hope so. Well, I'll find out in a bit. So we need the condom. So the condom holds about 1 litre of water. Sewing kit, don't need that. Another alcohol wipe, don't need that. Sugar might come in handy. Salt, no, don't need that at the moment. There's something else in here I really want. I'm trying to find it. Wire wool, some leftover tampon. Fire strike. Yeah, it's going to be at the very bottom, isn't it? Bandage. There we go, Puri tab. And I've got a Puri tab as well. So, one Puri tab does 1 litre of water. Condom holds 1 litre of water. So I'm going to use the filter. I'm going to pour water in through the paper filter, which I'm going to then drip that into the condom. And then so the paper filter, I'm going to put that
somehow I'm going to probably fold it into a sort of triangle maybe at the bottom. Would that work? Hold that there like that. And hold them both there like that. There we go. And now I can now get my water out of here. Pour that. Oh, it's not working too well. A bit hard to do it with one hand, with two hands. Right, let's try that again, shall we? Right, so put that back in there. Put my filter back in there. This time, do it a little bit better. Pinch it a little bit this time. There we go. And hey presto, we're now working. So I come up to the camera. It's not the elegant sort of thing, but it's not the easiest thing to deal with. But when is survival easy? If it was easy, everyone would be doing it, wouldn't they? So I'm going to come back to you when I've got this filled up. Okay, since I've been trying to do that, I found an easier way of doing it. So what I've done now, I've now put the filter paper into the big tin. Using the lid of the tin itself, I'm just using that as a little scoop and then pouring the water in the paper on top of the tin, and then the paper's sieving through that, and then it's going to be a lot easier to pour the water straight into where I wanted to get it, into the corner, without making a whole load of mess. Oh, finally got it tied up. It's so, my fingers are so slippery and all sorts. But now we've got ourselves a little bit of drinking water. It's got the tablet's dissolved in there, so the tablet's still in there somewhere. Let's give that another 10 minutes and then we should be good to drink. Right, but we're going to go over to the light. I'm going to talk through a few little other things I've got inside there. But before that, I'm going to clean my teeth using the chewing gum. It just sounds a nice thing. This will refresh. Clean your teeth. It's quite nice to refresh. Okay then, so let's just quickly go through the rest of the contents I've got left to use, or if I needed to use it, what have I got left? So as I said last night, I had a good length of cord, so a big length of arm's length for me, so I'm 164 centimeters, so There's 164 centimetres there, plus a little bit I cut off, so a good length of cord. And it's also got inside it some waxed jute twine, so if I really needed a fire and it's wet tinder everywhere, I could have pulled the centre core out of that, processed it down and made some of that. When I pulled it off, there was also a couple of cable ties tied up inside there as well. So again, lots of little things, repairing things, holding straps together. That little light which I've got, which I tied a little string around the thing, I could have cable tied it up somewhere. We've got a little sewing kit, nice little sewing kit, repairs, anything like that. If I ripped anything, I'll sew it back together. Really, if I gave myself a large laceration, probably sutured myself a little bit. We've got some anti-alcohol wipes, so I do have a cut on my hand there. I might actually use that because I've got some. I do have a nasty cut from yesterday, and it does come off. So what I might do is just use that just to make sure there's nothing inside. Oh, it stings! Nothing inside there, because it is a bit. I can see it's a little bit dirty. So let's try to stop any infection, which might. Oh, that's the alcohol in that. Yeah. Oh, that stings now. We've got the little blade which I told you about last night, so I'll show you what it is. So we've got a little knife there, so can't do too much with it because it's meant to go in a scalpel, but processing meats and anything like that, if you come across game and you catch fish, at least you can still process some of your stuff you've got in there. I might be changing the camera over very shortly because the battery's about to die on this camera. So what else have we got in here? So we've got a fishing kit. So it's got a shot, it's got a hook, pre-tied hook, and it's also got some lures inside there. So nice little system. We've got a wire saw. If I was here longer and I was building, where is my camera lens on this? I always get it wrong. Right, if I'll get this out and chop a little bit of wood up. We had a little bit of Velcro strap holding the old stuff together. The wire, which I used last night, which I'll turn that into a snare. If I was here longer, I'll turn this into a rabbit snare, find some rabbit game. I'll do that as well. You can see how I use that. I got my leftover tampon, so I only used half of it, so I could probably get another 2 more fires out of that. What else have we got left in this box to play with? We've got a piece of gauze. Oh no, this is an adhesive wound dressing. So if I had a large cut, clean it up with the wipe, and then I can put this on. It's always really handy. They always say every time you bring a knife, bring a first aid kit with you, because you always can do something. Bit of tin foil. So if I did catch a fish, which is usually the easiest game to actually capture, or if I got a rabbit or something like that, I could wrap it inside this or use some sort of cooking pot. And over there we've got some paper, so if I need to leave a thing or any notes, I could have written inside that, along with a pencil as well. It also comes with a pencil, little pencil. What I might recommend you do is when you get these, sharpen the other end as well, because if you break one end and you've only got that little scalpel blade, it can be hard to sharpen it. So I'd sharpen the other end at the same time as having that. So you've got two leads instead of one. They always say one is none and two is one. So that's what you want to think about, sort of on there. The whistle and the fire strike, which I used last night. So yeah, this is a box of tricks. This box just keeps going on. It's limited equipment. There's so much in this. I'll give you credit. So much you get in here. If from energy reserves are coming down, I had some sugar. So if I was staying here longer, I'd some pine trees. Pine trees that's over there. So I already got some pine needles and probably put some sugar inside it. just to give you a bit more energy and electrolytes. We've got a little vial of Vaseline. So this is another little good. So if it's really wet, if the tin is really wet, I could put this into the tampon cotton wool, make that last longer. I say we've used the condom. There's still more, guys. There's still more. Yeah, for fish or anything like that, if I catch it, bit of salt, because when you sweat and that, you lose your salts. If you lose too much salts, your body goes into cramps, and then the body actually starts shutting down. It's really good. You've got that inside there. Mending my waterproofs or anything like that with a bit of duct tape. It's also duct tape is waterproof as well, so I could use that for mending anything or fixing things. I've got another stock cube. So there was 2 stock cubes inside that. So again, I could have made a bowl out of the tin foil maybe, or wrapped it up, made a soup, made a stew with a fish head. Maybe, yes, another thing you could do, keep the fish head, put that fish head inside the metal tin, put the stock cube inside that, put that on the fire, and then you got yourself a nice little broth sort of coming on. Nearly done, nearly done. There's only a few more things left. I've got another Ranger band, so I used one Ranger band, so there's one more Ranger band in here. What else we got? What else we got? Oh, that's a bit of rubbish. That's right, I'm going to tip the box out because I can't get the stuff at the bottom. I've got another Puri tab, so I used half of one, so I've kept the other half, so I can turn that condom into 3 more lots of water, so I get four drinks out of that. I've got a button compass. It seems to be quite accurate, sort of on here. So I'm currently facing north. So it's quite a big compass, not like a little tiny little button compass you normally get. The other compass, let's have a look. Currently at the moment, oh, there we go. It's moving. It's moving. And we can now see that both compasses are pointing to north. I do apologise about the... Come on, focus in. There we go, so we've got that compass there and my one underneath it. You can see they are both pointing to north. This one took a little bit longer than this one would have done, but there's a lot more money worth in this. But I'm really happy with the pointing of the direction of this compass. I had 2 snap lights, so I used one last night. They were both 8 hours, so I used one. I've got one spare. Oh, 3 snap lights. I apologise. There's 3 snap lights, so you got 3 nights worth of light. A safety pin, always handy. 2 safety pins. I dropped them on the floor, didn't I? So if you lose your fish hook, you can make more fish hooks out of these. You can do all sorts of them, make triggers and that. And then we got two paper clips. Again, I can use these for. Oh, I could have used these for making my tin on. I could have turned them into a little stand and put my metal tin on in the fire, made it easier to get it off, or I can make more fish hooks out of it. But that's it. So you can see there a whole load of equipment. I can't see what I'm looking at now. So a whole load of equipment we've got there, and that all fits inside this little tin, held together by a band, which I've still got on the back there. Right, it's starting to rain now, so let's collect some more water if we're going to be here for a while. So let's make use of this drink. It's been 20 minutes walking in the woods, quite warm now, so let them do it. Bottoms up. Lovely chlorine taste in the morning, innit? Can't get much better than that. Ready for a refill. Okay, so what I've just done now, I've just had to move a bit further. Oh, sorry, I got a crog in my throat from that sleep. Really cold. Okay, so I've just had to walk a bit further around the wood sort of block actually to get to the river. It's nowhere near the camp where I stayed last night, but in some situations you do need to move around and to find your sort of stuff. The well was perfect for sleeping. It's got the water next by, but it's got no real food source. I've got inside my tin and that sort of stuff to make traps, but the wire itself is not too long, and without having a proper knife or blade, other than a razor blade, I can't really be setting too many traps or making figure fours or making Paiute dead falls or anything like that with the kit I've got. But when we looked into it, it did have a fishing kit, so which I'll get out here. There we go. So it does have a little bit of a fishing kit. So it's got a couple of weights. It's got I think they're stink baits. So I think we've got some stink baits inside here, and it looks quite a big line on a floating sort of reel. So what I'm thinking of doing is making some sort of primitive rod, maybe, where I might just tie a bit of line onto it and then just throw it out and see how we get on there, or I might try a little handrail at first. What I might do first is a hand line, just wrap it up my hand with the weights, throw it in and then pull it back and see what happens. If that doesn't work, I might just set up a quick rod and just leave it dangling out. It's only got one hook, so I don't want to be losing it. It's already pre-tied, so I'm at the river. Let's have a quick look to see what we can do. No, we don't really smell anything much. I think what they are just rubber maggots. I don't know if you can really see it. Yeah, just a little rubber maggot sort of on here, little sort of stretchy sort of thing. So let's see how we get on. It's a barbed hook, because that's always handy. I always get myself tangled with fishing line. It's got the weight on it already, so hopefully that should be enough to sink this and pull it through. I think it has a slight smell to it, because it's a spade hook, so if anyone's wondering, done with a blood knot, I do believe. I'm not a big fisherman. Well, I need to get. I've got the fishing kit, but you know, I still as yet not done any fishing or any sort of practicing with it whatsoever. So we're going to unreel some of this. A few trees are by me, so I can't really get too big a cast. Every cast I always seem to throw it inside the trees as well. I'm always really good at that. So we've got the fish hook. Right, let's just drop it in first, have a quick little look. Yeah, so it does sink. Okay, so it does sink. So I'm going to unreel quite a bit of this line, and then we're going to attempt some sort of cast with this overhanging trees. So it's not the best place where I've got here, but it will make do. That's all I've got. what I'm going to try and do, I'm going to try to, I don't know, put this over here. I'm going to try something. I'm going to hold my fingers. I'm going to wrap it around my fingers. The idea is, my theory being that it might come off the same as a fishing hook. The same as a reel. That's my theory anyway. I don't know if it's going to work. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to throw it forwards and point with my hand where I want it to go, and hopefully I've got my thumb holding back the other thing over there. So I'm going to give this a go and see what happens. It worked! It did work. It would have come a lot further if I wrapped it a lot more, wrapped on my fingers. So I'm thinking that's going to work really, really well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tie this to a stick, I think, and then and see if I can get it to go a bit further next time. Okay, so what I want a nice straight stick with no sort of debris on this, so I have a nice smooth sort of bar. I've looked around the area and I've seen this nice little tree here, or bush, and it's quite dead at the top. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use another item out of my survival kit, is the saw. Because it is green still, it's going to cut a little bit easier, I do believe, with hopefully with this wire saw. So we're going to try this out. Again, you've got all these plastic bags which are always handy for other little things, so I'm going to use that in a bit and purify some water, I think, with these little bags. So I'm going to undo this saw now and then see how well this wire saw can perform, so I can make myself a fishing reel. Yes, that's really what I want to try and get. So the easiest way around when doing these things is actually to carve a bow and then stick it onto it, but with the equipment I have, I haven't got the option to doing that. So, oh, that one just snapped off. Just snapped that bit. So I'm going to try to see if I can. There we go. Oh, snapped it again. Right, so we'll try again. Let's zoom in this time. It worked really well though. Okay, I've just come across the problem and I've managed to break it. Okay, so what I've managed to do, I put a bit of force into it, not too much force, but what's happened, it's come out at the end. A little rivet what comes into there. So that's going to be a bit of an issue now, so I now need to think of a way how to do that. So I might have to get another stick and make a toggle. I think it's going to be the option I'm going to use. So bear me 2 secs. Okay, so what I've managed to do is tie a clove hitch on with the cable with a stick. I'm now going to use that as my lever. Hopefully that should be a bit more efficient. Let's have a quick check how much cutting I did actually do on that. So I'm going to come from a different angle this time. Where was I cutting? Let's try a little bit higher up. The real problem with these wire saws is when you try to go round something, it goes round. So if you try and keep it straight, which I'm doing now, it's cutting a lot easier. So, lesson learnt with this one, don't bend it round, keep it as straight as possible, and then sort of bound it up and down. I'm going to try again. I'm going to try this again. I'm going to try and get another bit off. Try and get some of this vine off first. A bigger bit. Let's go down here. Let's try and keep it straight. Okay, so the saw did actually perform, so which was actually quite good. I did break it the first thing. I did take off a little rubber bit which protected my hand just to start off with. So it came out in a little rivet, so might be it wasn't crimped enough, or might just be a dodgy little one. You never know, but things work, things don't, and you just got to improvise, adapt and overcome. That's what we say in the forces. But adapted slightly, made it a bit of a straight cut, and you can see there it's got a nice little edge on that. And I think now this is going to make me a good fishing reel, to which I can then go out and actually do a little bit of fishing. But I'm also getting a little bit thirsty as well, so I'm going to fill up probably the tin in a bag. I'm going to get a Puri tab and split it into little quarters and put each quarter inside a little bag in the tin, so I've got a little bit of water to keep me going. So let's give it a go, shall we? Well, that didn't work too well for the first attempt, so it's not working, I don't know why. So I now put my thumb onto that, I'll find the end, and I'll throw that out and then see what happens. So let's try again. Yeah, that works. And now it's a waiting game. Okay, so what I've just done now, I've just tied the bit of foam onto this, and like a little, just do it like a parcel, like you would do from a normal gift wrap with ribbon. So I'm going to try my method again. I'm going to go down here, I'm going to lay it onto the floor, I'm going to pull some line off, and hopefully this time I should be able to leave it out a little bit longer. And then I should be able to leave it out a little bit longer, because the rubber maggot bait will be floating above the surface, above the floor. So that's the theory anyway. So I'm going to pull this out a little bit, pinch it, find the float. Oh, it's just, I've got myself a knot down here now. I've got a big knot of line caught in the trees. There we go. Right, so let's see what happens. It's working. So the float is big enough to hold it up. So there's not really much I can do now. The fishing line's out, it's sort of floating around. I'll just keep an eye on it. If it moves dramatically, I know I've got it. I'm going to have a look through my stuff now and see if I can actually get a little bit of water to be purified. Other than that, just going to wait. The one advantage of using this type of bait, well, I've gone and lost it now. Yeah, one advantage about using this type of non-live bait, sort of rubber bait, that I don't have to sit there and keep taking it out, checking it's live, putting it back out again, digging grubs up, anything like that. So that's a really, really big advantage of having this sort of stuff. That means I can set my line up, set my hook up that I've got now, I've got it wedged against a tree, and I can leave this for an hour, 2 hours, yeah, and it will do its thing. It will float around. Eventually a fish will come and see it, bite onto it, and I grab it up. So I can leave this
Even I could leave it overnight if I wanted to, and check it in the morning. So that's a really good system of how to catch food without using a lot of resources. It's like setting a trap. I've set the trap now. I'm just going to wait. It's just that big waiting game. So as it's doing that, we're going to move on and try and do something else with the kit and see what else we can do to keep ourselves entertained. You got to think survival is about your mind as well. Keep your mind active. Getting these little tasks on the go. As soon as you start thinking about it, or start thinking about you think the worst is going to come, you're going to start having that downhill drive. So you need to keep yourself active. And kits like we've got here, there's so many different things inside this box. So many variations of what I can do with the stuff. It's making me think of what can I do. Yeah, so what I'm thinking of doing as well is possibly trying to make some sort of knife out of this as well. I've got the cable tie, I've got the blade. I'm going to try and find a little stick and see if I can cable tie the blade to the stick. I did have 2 cable ties, but I didn't know there was a cable tie in there, so I lost it. So I'm now restricted down to 1 cable tie and a bit of string. So that's what I'm going to actually do. I'm going to try and make myself a knife, so if I do catch something, I can actually use the blade a little bit more substantial. So that's what I'm going to do now. Oh, there's the blade. So I'm thinking if I use a little bit of duct tape and the blade, you never know, I might be able to fashion something in this. I think that'd work. So if I got it in there, if I cable tie that together and then use it as my thumb as well, and I've got a bit more leverage. Yeah, I'm going to give that a go. So let's get a little zoom in on here. Yeah, so what I'm trying to do, come on, focus, there we go. So I've got my blade on the side there. I'll be careful so I don't cut myself. I'm going to put the cable tie, let's do the cable tie up first. Put the cable tie on here, and what we're going to do, I'm going to singe this cable tie up to this. I'm leaving the bottom bit if I only had that second cable tie, I could have done this really well. So let's singe that as tight as I can get it, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a bit of my wrap now. I'm going to see if I can get this wrap around here like that and tuck through itself. That might be a challenge. Right, so I'm going to give this a go, see what I can do. A temporary makeshift, not very strong but more usable knife than what we started off with. There we go. So one little blade, tied on with cable tie and a little bit of duct tape. It's going to make myself a lovely little cutting blade. All I'm going to make sure I do is just keep my thumb on it at the same time as well, just to give it a little bit of support, so when I'm pushing down, you can see there it's actually going to give a little bit of leverage. Yeah, more leverage now where I can get in things and use this a bit better tool than anything else I would have had just a minute ago. So that is actually really helpful. I'm quite happy with that. And what I could do with the blade cover, I've still got my packaging to make sure it's safe. I could put that possibly over that, yeah, and then I've got myself a little cover. I've got like there we go. Got a little sheath at the same time as well to look after it.
Okay, so I've just got myself back from a little fishing trip. The fishing kit done well. We got ourselves a nice little trout. Carried it back with the paracord was inside the tin. So what we're going to do now, we're now going to build a quick fire around the area. We're going to scatter around this area and using remaining fire lighting equipment inside my tin, I'm going to see if I can get a fire going again. And then we use the tin foil inside that. We're going to cook up the fish. We'll wrap it in tin foil, put it on the fire. I'm also thinking of doing something with the eyes, the liver, the heart. And I'm probably going to cook up inside the tin and go to get some water to make a nice broth and a sort of stock at the same time as well. Not to waste anything from the fish at all. So I want to make sure I get as much protein and energy from my nice little fish as possible. So that's enough said. So let's go around now and let's try and get some of this stuff to build a fire. Just getting a few more. It's a little bit wet at the moment, which has just been quite damp during this day. Just trying to find stuff down with the trees. So we're going to go around and find a little bit more and then come back. Oh yeah! I found some birch bark, dry. Let's just put those little strips here. Take this dead bark off the back. A few more strips. And what if I end up doing with these is just put them on big sheets then, so I can just keep them going a little bit further. So we'll get them just there. Right, let's get all my little sticks. Right, I think that's enough to be prepped with. So let's get out more stuff inside my tin. So that's the cooking equipment, so we'll leave that for the time being. I've got some of that. So I'm going to need my flint and steel, Ranger band, I think, because the wood is still, as I said, still quite damp as well. Let's use the other half of that, and I think I might use my Vaseline as well. I want to make sure this thing's actually going. Got one shot at this. I'll make sure it works. Actually, no, I know what I'll do. I'll retain a little bit of the tampon just in case I need to do that third little try again. So we'll break this up a little bit. We'll take a take some of this out. At the end of the day, I need to make sure this works, don't we? So I've got that. I'll keep this just in case we need it. Again, we'll use a little bit of this. Use a stick to get it out. A little bit more. Oh, dropped it now. Just put that back in there, so we've got another lot just in case we need it. So I'm going to put my Ranger band. Split that open so a little bit more surface area. Put that on top of there, like that. And then we've got my birch bark. Let's put a few bits of that on top of that as well. So hopefully when this goes, I should have a nice small little fire ready to go, and which then I can then start putting more and more stuff onto it. So this will go. Smother it. Okay, so we're nearly there. We'll come back in a bit. Here we go, we're nearly there. Just going to keep feeding this now, just try and get a nice bed of embers, which we can then cook. But also I'm going to feed this quite up now as well, because I'm going to go over the small little stream, little dike that's nearby, in which I can then go get some water, so I can start the water process and start boiling some water to get some drink at the same time as well. But I don't want this to go out as I'm leaving, so I'm going to make sure it's a good amount of wood on this so I can come back. Okay then, so as my water's boiling, I'm going to start preparing this fish so we can see what we're going to make out of it. So I'm quite hungry now, so I'm basically just going to put it on and get it done as quick as possible. I just forgot the knife. So I'm using the knife which I used earlier on. I've used this tree stump here. It's got a bit of moss on it, so it should be keep it from rolling off. I've also got my tin foil in my pocket. But the first thing, I am quite peckish. What I might just do is just gouge one of these eyes out, because fish eyes are actually quite good and edible sort of source of nutrition. People might not like it, but hey, you need to do these things if you're going to survive. Let's just pop an eye out. Okay, so got the fish eye, which is just here. Yeah, it's a good source of nutrition. You can eat them raw. Oh, bit fishy. Hey, it's good to do a bit of nutrition. Inside that, there's 2 of them, so let's not waste it. We need this. We're surviving at the end of the day. The old bony bit, get rid of the old bony bit. Here you go, second eye. Right, so all we're going to do now is gut the fish. Oh, disgusting. Gut the fish, and then we'll see what we've got inside there. So I'm thinking, I've already descaled it before I started. I thought it'd be easier. Sort of come around. Oh, gotta get rid of that. So what I might just do is just take the dorsal fin off. And all this stuff, I'm not going to throw any of it away. I'm going to put it inside the stew pot, and just to give all the nutritions and that sort of stuff at the same time. So we'll put that one there. Right, let's, what do we do? We'll keep the head in. Should we take the head off? Yeah, we'll take the head off. I think we'll cut the head off there. I'm no way a fisherman sort of on here itself, so I'm just doing how I foresee I do stuff. Just trying to nick up the bone. Get past that. Nick right down the tail. Alright, so now I've got all that stuff out. If I wanted to use some of this insides, I could use it as bait. Yeah, but I want to get rid of most of this sort of stuff. So we'll keep a little bit of it, but most of the stuff I want to get rid of, because it's all rubbish, intestines and that sort of thing. But the liver seems to be fine. The lungs, we put the lungs in the heart, and we put the lungs in the pot. Let's take the stomach off. Yeah, let's get rid of that. We don't really need that. Something else can eat that. But the heart and the lungs, we'll keep them. Put that in the old pot. There we go. And the tail's off, so that can go inside my pot at the same time. Then we have got to put some wood back on the fire. I don't don't think I'm going to have enough for the head in there as well, so, and the pot itself is a bit too small for the head, so I might just have to use that as chum if I was going to make a bait. And again, no, I'm in a bit of a winner here. So put the fish inside the tin foil. Forgot the salt. Need to get the salt, don't we? It's important to keep up your all your salts and minerals on there as well. It's got a little bit damp, but over night time, but we should be fine. A little bit of seasoning. Right, let's wrap this thing back up again. And now, put this on the fire. Lovely stock brewing just there. Oh, smoky. Let's get a stick. Let's move some of this embers away and get this to the embers. There we go. Get the fish inside there. It's lovely and hot. What I'm going to do, I'm going to keep one half the fire embers, and I'm going to build up this half the fire now, because this stock pot's nearly done. I'm going to build this fire back up again so I can keep moving embers onto the fire. Okay, so my stock is done. I sort of over boiled it. I think I've boiled it dry, so I need to wait for the tin to cool down a little bit, go down, get some more water, come back and put it back on the boil again. But I've just calmed myself a little strike because I've got the liver, I've got the lungs in here, so I'm going to see if I can get the lung out and then just eat that. So that's been boiling away. Tastes really very nice actually. So got that on the go. I'm going to try to turn my fish around now so the top gets a little bit of a cook sort of on it as well. A bit annoyed about the stock though. Go way back down there, get some more water. Oh, I know what I can do. I've got these bags, haven't I, where the things come out of. So instead of waiting for that to cool down, if I take that silly bait thing out and put that in there, and this is the bag where the saw came out of, I'm going to go down and collect some more water. Back in a second. Okay, so I've got some water. I've got a slight hole in one of them, but it's good enough because I can carry it up. We'll get the water into this pot again, and we'll put this back on the boil. So we've got a bit more stock on the go. Okay, we're now at a rolling boil. It has been boiling for a while, so I'm going to take this off, let it cool down a little bit, and then I've got myself a nice fish stock. The fish has been cooking on the fire now for nearly half an hour, so I think that's time for that to come off as well. So we'll take that off and let them both cool down, let the fire die out, and then we'll have a little meal and we'll finish off with a review of the kit. Here we go then, meal time. Been waiting for this all day. So let's unfold my tin foil. See all the juices. Well, you can't, but I can. I'll zoom the camera in a sec for you, so you can see how we're looking. Ugh, smoke's in my eye. The wind was going that way. Why has it changed direction? Oh, it smells lovely. If you could just have smell-o-vision. If only survival was always like this. We'd have a feast every day of the week. I'll turn the camera around now. Actually, no, I'll bring it up to the camera so you can see it. Here we go. So here we are. Oh, I nearly dropped it. So here we are, lovely, lovely cooked trout on the fire, smelling lovely. So let's just pick some of this up. Nice crispy skin, just falls off. That is a winner. That really is a winner. Oh, drop some. Ah. Fresh fish. It's cooked so nicely that it's just coming straight off the bone. Yeah, this just pulls straight off. I mean, that is fish cooked for perfection. Ah. Nothing left dissolved into actually the food itself. Just the head, just get rid of the bones itself, and all you got to do is just put the head inside of the tin, and you can start eating that at the same time as well then. But this is fantastic. This is lovely. Survival at its best. Okay, so that's the end of this survival challenge. I've used nearly everything inside the Limitless equipment kit Mark 1, which I think has really done me really well this 24-hour challenge. I've had a few snags and sort of had a few little issues which I had to come by, but like any situation, any survival situation, nothing's ever perfect. You just can't prepare for everything. It's just all up here, the knowledge. You can get the kit and sort of stuff. You can give you the kit, but you just need to learn and get out there and practice using it. So things which I've managed to do with this sort of stuff, I've used the tin on numerous times for collecting water, for carrying stuff, for cooking in. I just need to clean it out and I can use it again. Even some of the packaging it came with, I've used this box here. Also, I've got some more stuff in here as well, which I just realised I hadn't actually taken out of the case itself. So everything which I've had inside of this kit has been used in some way or sort. Even the box for storage when I'm using the tin, so I don't lose stuff. The paracord, it would have come in handy if I needed to build a shelter, but because I found such a good tree coming on there, I didn't actually need to use the paracord to place it down. I did take out an inner core to make the necklace for the light, which has now run out of battery, and I don't know what's gone. I've searched everywhere around here. I think I've stood on it and it's gone underneath the ground. I can't find it at all. So it did come in useful, and I used it for carrying the fish. I'd have to get greasy out your hands and carrying that sort of thing. If I was out for longer, I'd probably use it for a bit more. But it does have fire lighting equipment inside there, so I used all my fire tinder stuff inside there. I could have took out the jute twine, the fire jute twine inside there as well. This is a video on my channel how to use it. Little Velcro what holds this together. I didn't come around needing it, but it would have been there if I needed to. The surgical blade, which I then fastened with the cable tie and some duct tape to the end of a stick, which I could then use then to be a bit of leverage to cut up the fish a little easier. I also carved a little star. I also tried doing some carving that with it as well. It did actually work a little bit. So that was that. The tin foil, yes, perfect for cooking. Folded it back up. I can reuse it again if I need to, for catch any more fish. The salt, I use 1 sachet of salt, so catching more food. You need to replace, when you're sweating that, you lose your salt, so you need to put them back in there. I've still got some duct tape left, which again is another fire starter if I needed to use it, because if I came to it. I've got my sewing kit, which I didn't need to repair any equipment from here, but I wasn't going to open it up just to test it. But you know how to sew. It's got buttons in there, it's got threaders, needles and some cottons. I could have used it if I cut my trousers open or anything like that, or fixing, or if you get a major cut you could suture yourself back together again. We've got some sugar, so if I start feeling really low, I couldn't get any food, I could take a sachet of sugar and that would replenish some energy. We've got the condom, is like a one-use sort of thing. I could use it again to split it open and to use that, but other than that, it's a really good emergency survival thing to carry some stuff along. I've got a bit of spoon in my mouth. but again, I could reuse that if I really wanted to. It wasn't as easy as I thought it was to fill him up. We've got the snap lights, so it came with 3 snap lights. So we've got 2 left unused, and we've used one on the kit to hold it all in place. It did have a Ranger band on it, which is still on the tin, so I've still got 1 more Ranger band left. It came with 2 Ranger bands. I've burnt both of them. I do have 1 left. The strike, very good little strike and a whistle. So quite nice little gizmo on here. What I could have done, really thinking of it now, I could have got a bit of the string, tied that round the striker, put it around my neck so I didn't lose it. So that was the thing I could have done. I've got 1 Puro casing tablet left, so I could split that up if I needed to, because I've got these 2 bags. This one's holding water, so it's sealed, so I could put some inside the tin, some inside that if I didn't want to boil it, and take that out. I've got half a stock cube left, so I can make another little brew, sort of coming up with this stock cube. The compass, as we saw, worked fine. Takes a little while, but did point north. I know north facing that way because it's plenty of success, so I can trust that. I'll go whites. Remember, I did cut myself the previous morning, which I used to clean that, and now the wound's healed and I didn't actually get any septic from it, so that did work. Condom packaging. I've got a third of a tampon left, so I can make another fire out of there. I've got some Vaseline left in there, so I could put that to make another fire with the other Ranger band. We've got the coffee filter paper, so I've still got the coffee filter paper. It's now dried up again now, so I could reuse it and think about another use, or I could use it as a tinter sauce. So I could make a proper filter out of it and use it on there. Chewing gum, I've ate that, but I've kept the foil packaging, so you could use there. Still got the needles, the fins. The wire saw did break on me with the first few seconds of using it, but as you see there, lighting this fire made my fire lay. I can just wrap a little stick around it and it still works fine. And the fishing rod, it caught myself a nice trout. I had to leave it in the river for quite some time, and it did actually take eventually. So we've got a little fishing lake sort of on there itself. So overall impressions, very, very happy with the kit. So I was just packing everything up ready to go home, and I forgot to show you what I did with actually the there was some other little thing I didn't actually use, but I did make just in case I did want to use it. Is a snare, yeah, so a free running snare, yeah, of the copper wire. So you can see on here, I've got the cable, the wire just on here. It's not very clear. Attached to a stake where I could fire harden it, but I haven't done to yet. And then I could set this up around. There's so many squirrels around here, or rabbits. And then I can just lay that, and as a rabbit comes through, yeah, it comes through and gets itself trapped. Same in the UK, we're not allowed to make self-tightening snares. They have to be free running to allow them to get in and out, and you also need permission from the landowner if you're going to set them. So in my rating scale, I would give this one jungle. Yeah, so 4 out of 5, or jungle rating. You can survive anywhere in the world, sort of roughly anywhere in the world. The jungle survival situations. The only thing what really gave it down to me was a couple of little points. The failure on the saw, but hey, you can't really complain too much on that. Even if it didn't fail, it'd still be a jungle situation on there. The light itself, it had a red LED. I would have been better if it had a white LED, because I tried using that red LED to navigate from here to the water source, and I really did struggle, because yes, it didn't affect my night vision, but I had a fire on all night, so really a white light would have been a little bit better on there. The surgical blade, I can see when I put it in there, it's nice and thin and lightweight, but I had to use quite a few resources to actually make decent use out of it. If it just had a mini little fold-up blade, it might have been a little bit better. You could put a bit more pressure on it, and then I could secure it, because it is a surgical blade, they are sharp. I've got to be very careful how I look after it and how I don't cut myself with it. So really, to me, if it had a decent blade, or a blade which I can fold up or use, and it had that white light, it would have been the Everest. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I can't fault this as a kit anymore. Perfect what it needed. Food, fire, water, shelter, signalling, all that was inside of that kit. All of the 5 criterias. Just those 2 little things could have been a little bit better, and then it would have been perfect. But thanks again, Limitless Equipment, for the tin, sort of allowing me to test that and actually put it out onto the channel. Enjoyed the video sort of on it. If you like this, put a like down below, subscribe, comment. What would you do different with that tin? And just look forward for the next survival in the tin video coming up very shortly. It's going to be another survival tin. Don't know which one yet. There will be a post coming out onto my Instagram channel and onto YouTube when that was out, when it's due to be released. I'm trying to get it on next month, but it's all depending on my workload and a commitment. But until then, just remember, it's better to be one with the wilderness than to fight and struggle. It's the next video. See you then. Bye for now.